everybody, and welcome back to the Adapted Life Podcast with me, Julie Hasselberger. And here I am once again trying to get back to the comfort of my words and my space here in my podcast studio at home. And I'm going to do my podcast outline for episode 30, which was called 213 Days of Grief. And really, I'm probably about a week past that now, but I've been having some technical issues, probably more with my brain than with my equipment, but I'm going to do the best I can because sometimes it's easier than others. So, as you know, I had a disabled son. His name was Daniel, who passed away in January. The intent behind creating the Adapted Life was to build a community for people who, like myself, had been through, or had their child and had the child be diagnosed with something very life altering and severe, or even had somebody in their life who they're caring for who has some degree of disability or illness. And it just was a way to share our experience with adapting our lives so that we could basically help that person survive. So sadly, we lost Daniel, and of course I have to live with this now and live without my son forever. Adapting now feels like too easy of a word because I feel more like I was totally deconstructed and then put back together again. But life after loss is a topic I really want to keep digging into and keep talking about, as I am kind of curious and would love to be able to hopefully share my experience and maybe help somebody else or connect with other people. Like, I know that when you're actively entwined in the life of caring for someone, like the last thing you think about is like how I'm going to feel after they pass, because of course it was never on our radar and it shouldn't be. But when it happens, you, or this is the experience that I've had, and I've spoken to a few other special needs moms. It's not just the loss of the son or the daughter, it's the loss of the whole entire life. And we can talk about that a little bit more, but it's always tricky. I mean, statistically, kids like my son, who had a disability from a brain malformity and the resulting side effects and symptoms and things that he went through, obviously he had a shorter life expectancy, but when things were good, things were good. So we really had no idea. We sort of had a general idea what could be, dangerous for him. But it was always too anxiety provoking to like ruminate on that because you're too busy taking care of everything in the happy life, right? In the now. So I spent all my time learning how to love and advocate and adapt and support and care and take care of my family and live in the moment, like I said. So living for two of us, me and Daniel, and he needed 100% care. So it was just like that. So yeah, I never really thought about it. You know how like, oh, maybe I'd be like, oh wow, what if something happens? And then we were in the process of creating a will in case something happened to us and he survived. But all of that doesn't really matter at this point because Daniel died unexpectedly and suddenly in January. So that's kind of where we are. So I say to myself now, every day, I wake up, I breathe, I do a little meditation, I try to be grateful, and I check in. What should I do today? What should I do next? It's a profound question because here I am back in my world and it's so quiet. It's really hard to know, like, what to do when literally your inside was sucked out, like your whole world in terms of your daily routine and your functioning. And um, so it's just living with this loss and this grief has been really hard. And it affects everything. Like my functionality is like really like kind of wacky. Um, so I just keep going, right? I'm just reading an error that's popping up on my screen. Hang on one second. So I just keep going. And sometimes I'm like a little bit here and a little bit here, and I'm going to do this thing, I'm going to do that thing. What should I do? I don't know. It's like you have attention deficit because you can't really land on one thing. And I think that is really because, like I was explaining this recently, my world with Daniel was kind of like the core center of everything. And it took years to get to a place where there's just solid understanding that, I walked away from my career, my goals, everything, that he comes first and then everything else, because that was what I was doing. I was taking care of my son for his whole life. I accepted that lovingly, and um, that was the center. And of course, the center is my whole family, but it's, you understand what I'm saying, that I had to take care of him. So that middle part of me is really kind of gone. It's like I'm a lot of branches without a trunk. Like I don't really know what to do, where to go, how to land, where feel grounded. Um, Anyways, that's how I see it. And grief is also kind of like, you get a whole new skin, you get a whole new you. You transform into a new person whose heart has been broken, and it's broken beyond repair, and the pain is just a part of everything. So by osmosis, the grief enters every cell of your physical human existence, and then it forms a new person. Aren't you lucky? It's this new you. But going through this pain and grief, it's how you are supporting yourself. It's how you deal with it. It's how you cope. It's how you get stronger. It's going to be the way you interpret the world. It is you transformed in how you exist in relationships. Being a special needs mom was a very, very special, beautiful title. And I took it very, very seriously. I honored that responsibility, even when it was so hard. Like I was going bonkers. Like there were times when it was too hard. But it became an identifier that I made as part of my life, my community. Um, it just was. It was who I was. And we do that during the process of accepting and adapting, because our special children are going to have to go into a society that doesn't really embrace children with special needs. Culture doesn't really embrace children with special needs. And, you know, people don't understand what happens when somebody has a child born with severe issues, disabilities, medical issues. They can't take care of themselves. You see them sometimes, right? If you never experienced this, if you're not somebody with any problems with your kids or anything like that, you don't have any persons with disabilities in your that you've ever met, and you see somebody in a wheelchair, walking with his mommy, it's like, oh, that's so sad, but you don't really think about the intense life that goes on once that mommy gets home with that child. Um, so they can't take care of themselves. So taking care of them, it becomes who we are. I guess I'm still that, right? But now I'm also something new. I'm a grieving mother who's lost her son and lost this world where she dug hard to really understand that purpose and that commitment and then it was gone. So it's not like I was taking care of Daniel and then I also had a full-time job and that I had other things. I didn't. I just stayed here and devoted my life to him. So now what comes next, right? This is what I've been really thinking about for the past months. Today's August. What's today's date? It's not 213. We're in the 220 somethings, but today's August 26th. It's Monday. And I don't know. I see a blank page. So I just am still trying to figure it out. You know, I don't know. I look into the distance and I think, what am I going to do now? And I think I'm still just giving myself a gentle letting go process of all of those things that I had to do before. Um, Everything still feels like mentally tethered to the expectations and the reality of all the things I had to do to take care of Daniel. And it makes no sense, right? He's not here. Why am I still tethered to the house and tethered to things? But it does require a very gentle letting go. And I think that's just kind of a good way to put it. I can't just cold turkey it and say, okay, I'm different now. It doesn't work that way. So I have been trusting my intuitive nature to boost me along. So it seems to never fail me. And I'm here and I'm writing and I'm talking. So that's a start, because grief really sucks. And, you know, I just want everyone to know that I am okay. I'm not, you know, wallowing away, and I'm doing a lot of things to take care of my health. And my creativity. So being creative in this circumstance is not a deflection. It's actually a really good opportunity to just kind of let your feelings out on some form of creativity, whether you're a musician or you're an artist or you're a poet or you just like to go out in nature or you're a gardener or whatever it is that's your creative outlet. For me, it's, painting and, just doing activities, writing poetry, just finding ways to just kind of let my creativity create something. I don't know how else to say it. That feels like home for me. It's it's also like a good medicine. Like when I'm doing watercolor painting, it's like medicine for my aching soul because it engages my brain and I just focus on what I'm doing, and usually I listen to really beautiful music and just try to just stay in the moment and let something beautiful end up on the paper or not. Sometimes they're failed paintings, but you know what I'm saying? Like I'm trying. Grief changes how you function, even unconsciously. It is a deep, impenetrable condition that was formed from a love so incredible. So I don't even know how to give that love a proper adjective. It's a grief is just not it's just not a period of feeling sad after somebody dies. Grief is actually a thing. It's actually like love is a thing. Grief is a thing. Grief is also love. So it's the sadness from losing that love. And it doesn't go away. It is not linear. Um, you're just learning how to carry it in this new person that you've become. And that's how I see it. But there are times now that I do see the sunshine. The sunshine feels a little different. The sky looks a little different. The clouds look a little different. I stare at the trees and everything seems to be like a different color. It's very strange. And I just I have a lot of things I would love to be doing outside. I'm trying to get better physically. I have a spinal injury. Um, so I've been doing some therapeutic stuff for that, some physical therapy, and I got a spinal injection. I've been going to the doctors. I'm in a weight loss program. I'm riding bikes again. I'm doing lots of things, right? Little by little. And I'm like the one who's being cared for now. So that's pretty funny. It's like I've got more doctor's appointments now than I ever did, mostly because I decided to stop avoiding them and put it because I used to put myself last. If I was doing okay, I'd say, you know what, I just have too many things to get to this week. I'll just push that out a couple months, you know? So, you know, it's really hard. I am still kind of figuring out how hard it is. But I ask myself all the time, how am I ever going to get through these weird feelings of being fine one minute and then feeling like I just want to curl up in a ball and just sob my eyes out in the recliner for an hour or 2 hours. And then somehow after I do that, I feel better and then I can breathe a little bit and I can focus a little bit. I never know when it's coming. It's just something triggers it and boom, things go crazy, right? Um, so that's all I really wanted to say, that at 213 days in, if you're somebody who's grieving, I'm not sure how your beginning was. For me, it was, and it still is, probably a little more dark than it is light, but I I am trying. And to add more to the pile, we just lost my mother-in-law on July 28th. So we had another family funeral to set up. She had Alzheimer's, and ultimately her time ended on July 28th. So we went through all that early August, and that kept me busy. So just when I was saying the last time, I'm going to get in here and do some more recording, start talking to some people, do some interviewing, I got set back by the sixth funeral we've had in my family since 2020. Um, we've had a tough few years. Daniel's death was by far, of course, the most devastating, but it's all been kind of like interwoven with each other. Losing my mother, losing John's brother, losing his parents. Anyway, so I just wanted to come on here and just, really quickly extend my love and my feelings out to the world, and just let you know that yeah, this is a journey that is very interesting and that I am just starting to get to know and understand. And yeah, I often just stop and I say to myself, okay, are you okay? No, yeah, I think I'm okay right now. Um, the fact that I can recognize I'm okay right now is huge for me. It's a huge step in moving forward, because there were weeks, months where I just felt like I was just getting through the day, going through the motions. I'll do one thing today, is kind of how it was, and then okay, I did some dishes. That okay, I did a thing. I just need to sit down. I'm exhausted. It's like it was like that. Now it's getting a little better. Now I'm really working on how to find some purpose out of this and to hang on to my love for recording and for sharing and for supporting people who are in the same world that I'm in or was in. I do write a lot. This is a little thing that just came to me recently while I was journaling, because I have this funny picture of Daniel sitting on my mantle, and he has this funny face, like he's sticking his tongue out at me, and it's just kind of like he always had this expression that was kind of like mischievous and snarky. Like I feel like he would have been making a joke or something, and I have it framed on my mantle next to where I sit to meditate, and I always feel like he's watching me and he's cheering me up. And this is a poem I wrote called Even Though I Grieve. So I'm going to read this poem and then I'm going to wrap it up. Okay. Even though I grieve, I can still smile at your photo. Even though I cry, I can feel grateful. Even though I am broken, I can limp along today. Even though I miss you, I can create new memories now. Even though you were always here, I know that you are gone. Even though my house is quiet, I can still feel you and hear you. Even though I grieve you, son, my love spans all time and space. I will always be your mom, and you will always be my Daniel. Even though I grieve and hurt, I am healed by memories of you. August 13th. All right. So that's enough for today. I want to give myself a big pat on the back. She got herself through recording. This is like my third time recording this podcast because I don't know what's going on with me and my technology skills. They're kind of like not all there. Anyway, so I have some productive ideas, which I'm going to kind of list these out. These are some of the things that I would like to be working on. It helps me to write things down and to speak them into existence sometimes. But I do want to start eventually interviewing people on the podcast episodes about their experience with loss. I'd like to put an emphasis on what loss is like for people who have been a full-time caregiver for someone else their entire lifetime. I would also like to take all of my poetry that I have and somehow see if I can put it into some books. And right now it's all over the place. And I've been writing probably since I was in my early 20s, and I'm 58 years old now. I don't have any writing experience, like education-wise, but I love words and being creative with words. So the third thing on here was my YouTube channel. For those who don't know, I've been doing video journaling since, 2014, 15, something like that. It's always been more of a spontaneous sharing about what life is like for us, how it is. And when we were taking care of Sarah and Daniel and Thomas and running the home and the impacts that having the pressures of a disabled person to care for in your home can bring. So we raised Daniel, and Sarah and Thomas went off to college, and now they have lives. And, we went through all those years. And so I tried to share what was going on. And it was a real fun experience because now I can look back and I have so many precious video memories of Daniel. And I never really thought about it back then, but it's nice to have that. But so I always used to do that. But sometimes it was more focused on me and focused on where I live and around here. And who knows? I like all kinds of things. But I just try to be very intuitive and spontaneous sometimes. So I need to work on my channel, update my cover art, do a little bit more focus on answering comments and growing the channel. Like I do. I love it so much. I have such a great community, and where am I? 9,424 subscribers. So I'm so grateful for that. And number 4, sometimes I wake up in the middle of the night saying, I think I want to write a book. Write a book, 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 write a book. It's in all my goals. It's in my vision plan. I don't even know how to get started. Like I have lots of things that I write all over the place. Like I probably stopped and started writing a book about 5 times. And I save everything that I write. It's just very fragmented, and I'm not sure what angle to come in at. And um, but I really do want to write about it. So, and the last thing I want to talk about is the art shop. So, for those of you who don't know, many years ago, Daniel and I were painting, mostly finger painting. He loves anything tactile, right? So we would find ways to make paintings. It was just a fun thing. Among other, we did lots of crafty things throughout the years, and uh, stuff that he liked to touch. So I had no painting skills other than like his level, right? Like I don't know. So we started doing little fingerprint trees and things like that. And then I would, go and be on Pinterest and look up things and like, oh, that's a cute project. So then start getting better. And then I would look up even more advanced ideas. And I started to teach myself how to do tutorials using acrylic paint. And then I would help him to like blend the color. And then I had one of his aides help me design these DIY tools that we can use to help him hold the paintbrushes and painting tools. And what happened was, over the course of time, we started to make these collaborative pieces where his hands were incorporated and mine were, but I would do the more detailed work, and it was just fun. And one of our nurses said, "You should sell those. Create a little shop." So after Daniel left school, I went on Etsy and I created Daniel's special art shop, and we started selling prints of his paintings. And then we started doing more paintings. And then we did some winter paintings and some trees and some flowers and the flamingo and some special things like the squishy paint you do under saran wrap. And then we started learning watercolors, or I did. I took a class and we started doing more. And I would show Daniel, and we have ornaments and notebooks and like other things for sale too. So I would show him, here's your store and here's your sales, and we would go through and he would look, and he knew that those paintings were on the website or on the Etsy shop. So I'm still painting, and I really want to, I don't know, keep the shop alive in his memory and work on that, create new paintings, create new products. Um, it's a really nice little vocation that meant a lot to us. So, yeah, it's really special. So, you can check it out. It was never a big income earner, but it was always a place where it was a collaborative way to share our love for these projects to the world, and it was really fun. And I never want to let it go. So, that's all for today, my dear friends. I I want to thank you for your patience, for your support. Uh, Hopefully, I can really find a way to touch some hearts and bring some purpose into Daniel's passing and Daniel's experience. So that is the goal. So, anyhow, you can leave me messages right through the podcast. You can find me on Instagram, on Facebook, on YouTube, Julie Hasselberger. I'm still working on my website. It's out there, but I don't know. I'm trying to learn how to be better at website creation, but it's there. I just have to do some updating. So hopefully I'll be back soon. I'm already writing episode 31. But grief is unveiling something new to me every day, every single day. Weird things, not so weird things, good things, sad things. Um, and I'm here for it, honestly. Uh, I just want to tell you that if you're having a bad day, I'm hoping that I can send you a hug and send you some love, and that you know that it's going to be okay sometimes, but we just keep going. And may you and me have maybe a little bit more moment where the light warms us and opens our hearts each day, but then also be accepting and embracing of the moments where we need a little more care, which also happens each day. So many blessings to you. And yeah, I will see you in the Julie world. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. And have a great one.